near the end of 2025, This Week in Boomtown is getting a big picture view of growth in Central Ohio. What was the biggest game changer and how cities measure success? So what is the biggest game changer?
Collaboration and Columbus working together and being the best it can be because we work together.
It's never been like that before? Plus, The Ohio State University is undergoing one of its biggest transformations yet. We'll sit down with the president, Ted Carter, to talk about the growth and where he sees Buckeye Nation heading in the new year. And we know AI is here to stay. The question is, how will it shape this region as we grow? And what are the challenges AI brings with it? Thanks so much for joining This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We have a special edition this week coming to you from ED 411. It is the premier gathering of economic development leaders throughout Central Ohio's 11-county region. It's put on by the Columbus Partnership, and this year's theme is navigating the changing economic landscape. It's a tough task, so we put that question out there.
Yeah, what's the biggest game changer?
So what is the biggest game changer?
So what is the biggest game changer?
Collaboration.
The biggest game changer right now is local businesses, all those awesome coffee shops, small boutiques and retailers.
Go for it.
What's the biggest game changer? What's the biggest game changer?
I think on a more personal level for our firm, it's just about relationship building.
So what is the biggest game changer? So since 2011, I've been creating rental housing for the expatriates of Japanese corporations.
I think that the IT market is a little saturated. I know that we have so many people coming through the job center that's looking for work. So I would say that the information technology is oversaturated.
The biggest game changer in our region is the amount of growth and overall investment that this region has experienced over the last 15 years.
And I think that is because there's such great collaboration among so many partners, kind of pulling on the rope in the same direction.
That leads me to the second question, is what needs to start or continue? And that is continued investment in infrastructure to support the growth of the region.
We've got to have a global look about housing.
What needs to start or stop?
What needs to start is continued focus on empowering our local entrepreneurs. And what needs to stop is online shopping.
I think what needs to start is our ability to teach our young children to become engineers. We need more engineers.
What I think needs to start, I think that some companies should consider taking on entry-level people straight out of school.
And then creating that growth mindset.
In one sentence, can you tell me how you measure success?
We measure success through the growth and profitability of the business.
You know, we measure success here by regional collaboration.
At Tolles, we measure success by getting our students meaningful employment.
How do you measure success? Conversation. If we can have a successful conversation, just conversation, then I think we can go to another level as far as like hiring, seeing what the company needs and seeing what the job seeker needs.
And community of Japanese has been large here. It's the second largest in Midwest. Japan is the largest direct investor of Ohio. Would like to create a Japan town here in Midwest.
Having the most prosperous community in the world is success.
How do I measure success? It's the smiles on people's faces.
As we talk about Boomtown in cities all over Central Ohio, we know that housing is always the #1 issue. So to talk more about that, I want to welcome Brad DeHaze. He's with the Connect Real Estate Company, founder and CEO. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Housing, always the challenge.
Yes.
You see that every day.
Every day. Every day. Development, we do apartments, large scale, double loaded corridor, stacked apartment complexes. Obviously, cities want houses, so it seems to be the norm of discussion as to we have to get more, and with all the job growth, we're always underbuilt, so it's an everyday discussion.
And it's like we can't catch up to the demand that's out there, and so we are always looking for people or companies that are finding solutions to this crisis. You've figured one out, which is so fascinating. Talk about this modular building that you're doing with Connect Housing Blocks.
Yeah, so we've had a construction company for 25 years, and with the construction company we could see that there were issues with the quantity of skilled trades around Central Ohio that was making it difficult for us to be able to build fast enough. And we wanted to look at, okay, what else can we do to where we're not cannibalizing all the other skilled trades that are around Central Ohio? How can we add to the supply without taking the same workers that would just be shuffled from one project to the next? So we came up with an employment process for Connect housing blocks to be able to take construction scope and put it down into individual tasks. And by doing that, it allowed us then to create a training method to where we can upskill people really quickly that are not in the construction trades. It tears down barriers to entry, and we put a manufacturing facility in a disinvested neighborhood to where people needed jobs that had transportation issues. So we're at 175 employees, and now it's the largest modular manufacturing facility in the United States.
And you're also building homes then that are affordable for our neighbors. How does that feel?
It feels fantastic, but not just for me. I mean, that's a huge point for all of our employees. I mean, for them to be able to, in construction, a lot of times you start building something and you're there for a couple years and you don't really get to see the finished project until the very end. At the factory, you can go to one end of the line and you can see how it starts and then go out to the other end and see how it finishes. And it's just, they get that satisfaction knowing that someone's going to be living in that unit in the very near future.
So final question, as we look at 2026, how are you going to hyperscale, or what's the next housing solution that you see?
I mean, I think for us, it's all about speed. So we need to continue to bring on, employees that want to work and that want an opportunity. And we're full of opportunities out there at the factory. So we're just going to continue to grow our workforce and fill out other shifts and continue to put more product out here in the Central Ohio market.
Great. Brad DeHaze, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. We are joined now by the president of The Ohio State University, Ted Carter Jr. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, it's great to be with you on this game day Friday before the big game.
Yes, for sure. So let's talk about this. You had a room, 700 plus people in the economic development world. What was your main message to them?
My main message was what it means right now to lead during this incredible period of change. And how important Ohio State is to be embedded and partnered with all of the business community, the elected leaders, this whole Central Ohio region, and quite frankly, the whole state of Ohio.
Their theme this year is navigating a changing landscape.
Yeah.
How do you do that from your position as the president of OSU?
Well, first of all, we have to accept that higher education is in a period of change. Coming out of COVID, a lot of the American population and quite frankly the state of Ohio has had some questions about affordability, what's the return on investment. We have to be dynamic and pivot and make our education relevant for every student that comes to Ohio State, which is part of why we're investing in ourselves, we're investing in academic excellence, we're investing in artificial intelligence. This is a program called AI Fluency, where every student that graduates is going to be fluent in AI regardless of their academic discipline. So it's an exciting time to be at Ohio State.
It really is. And when you talk about AI, I loved what you said about it's not just the students who are fluent in AI, but your staff, the professors, everybody. Why is that so critical?
Well, because I want everybody to own it. So it can't be just some senior administrator's good idea. I need them to get involved. I need the faculty to tailor their AI disciplines to what they're teaching and make it work for them. This is not ChatGPT. This is so much more and bigger than that. It's understanding how to maximize the tools that are there and to be prepared to where kind of like strategically where the puck is going, not where it is. And so that they're ready on day one when they graduate.
I'm curious if AI, everyone's learning AI across the board, not just at Ohio State, and it's almost evening that playing field. How are you going to make sure that OSU students, the Buckeyes, stand out for those jobs?
Part of it is make sure we hire the right faculty. I mean, we've got 300 AI experts on the campus since 2018, and we're going out to hire another additional 100 over the next 5 years. And these are the best experts in the world. So that will attract the best students to come to Ohio State, but also to make sure that what we're teaching is the best material out there, the research that we're doing, the research AI hub center that we've just created. And then on top of that, as part of our land grant mission, we are creating products and courseware for all businesses in the state of Ohio that they can reach in and take this courseware that we're making for them.
Wow. And you talk about some of that campus expansion. Let's talk about the Innovation District.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. It's massive. Where are we with that right now?
So, we're kind of, I'd say, at the earlier stages of it. It's about 350 acres, which, by the way, is bigger than the entire U.S. Naval Academy that I used to run in my past life. We've got to develop some plans as we're bringing in a special developer that will create housing, food, eateries, but we've got to now bring in the big researchers. We're looking to create kind of a flagship tenant here in the next couple of years that will draw other researchers. But as you see, all these major corporations here in Central Ohio, we want them to not only do research with us, but bring them into this innovation district.
Yes, and when you talk about bringing in some of those dollars, certainly dollars for things like research funding, what have you, this year, all higher ed has seen quite some cuts from the federal government.
Yeah,
how are you navigating that?
It's been hard. We've had to relearn how we apply for research grants. We had to rethink that. Some of the application processes have changed. The big dollars like National Science Foundation, National Institute of Health, they are still behemoths in the research world, but not maybe as many available dollars as they've had in the past. The overhead rates or the indirect cost rates, that formula has changed, made it a little bit more difficult, and yet we're still growing. So last year we were a $1.6 billion research enterprise. 14,000 of our faculty and staff are involved in that work. That's a big group of people. We still have about that same number of people, and our research is still growing. Maybe not as fast as the year before, but we expect to be closer to the 1.7 billion when we raise all that final tally of all that money up, and that's state, government, industry, and private philanthropy all rolled together. Typically about half of that money is coming from the federal government. That formula may change a little bit. And we have a plan to drive to a $2 billion research institution arm over the next 5 to 10 years. That'll put us easily in the top 10 in the nation.
What's your marketing tagline to get people to come on board with that, while other schools might be struggling?
Yeah, we're investing in ourselves. We are not letting this I would call austere fiscal environment in higher education right now, or this feeling that higher ed is under attack. We're going the opposite. We're playing offense when everybody else is playing defense.
You sound like a coach.
There's a lot of similarity there.
There is. We asked people here some key questions in our Boomtown chat. You see some of that there. What is the biggest game changer you think that you've seen for Ohio State, maybe even beyond, when it comes to growth?
People want to come to Ohio State. They love the experience of being on campus, the classroom experience, the wide variance in different academic disciplines that you can take. We are a big draw. We had 88,000 applications for this incoming freshman class of 8,300. So we're not having any trouble attracting students. Now we just put the ACT, SAT requirement back in. We may not see quite as many applications because of that, but we're highly selective. And as I like telling everybody, if you have a dream of coming to Ohio State, because of our regional campuses, you can come here. And we've created some new affordability and accessibility programs so that anybody and everybody can afford to come to Ohio State.
Talk about the collaboration between Ohio State and perhaps say some of these tech and trade schools that we're seeing, where a lot of that attention for some of these younger kids are going towards.
Well, I'll just highlight Columbus State Community College. We've had a relationship with them now for a long time, but we just created a bigger and better one with the Buckeye Bridge. So anybody that goes to Columbus State gets their associate's degree, we will accept them and we will pay for their tuition for years 3 and 4 at the undergraduate level if they make less than $100,000 and they're an Ohioan. I mean, it's a big deal. We transfer about 1,000 students a year from Columbus State. I expect that to double here in the next couple of years.
It seems like removing barriers is the best way to grow people and places and things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
President Carter.
Always good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Good to see you too.
Yes.
We'll see you in 2026.
Yes, you will.
Welcome back. We're talking about AI because it is really no longer an option for us. It is truly here and part of our everyday lives. So joining us now on This Week in Boomtown to talk more about it, welcome Mark Kwame to our show.
Thank you very much.
You are the CEO and founder of the Ohio Fund. Let's start there.
Yeah.
What is that? Because there's a lot of dollars and cents behind it.
Yeah. I mean, so as many folks may know, I started my career in Silicon Valley and then was at Sequoia Capital, which is seen as kind of the #1 VC firm. So I was in the room when we funded Google and PayPal and YouTube and Instagram and all these other guys. So we saw all that stuff grow. And then, came to Ohio with when Governor Kasich came in, and he asked me to start Jobs Ohio.
2011, right?
2011,
Okay.
exactly, yeah. And so I did that, and then started Drive Capital. And as we were just recently chatting about, I thought I was going to retire, and that didn't work. And I said I want to have impact. And when I did Jobs Ohio, I didn't know nothing about economic development, so I did a lot of Googling. The best economic development group that ever was created is called Temasek in Singapore. In Singapore in 1974, it was a third world country. Their GDP, population, landmass was equal to Jamaica. I was actually there in 1974. My dad had just opened a plant there. And it was a third world country, open sewers, I mean, the whole thing. And they started Temasek, and they took about $180 million, like a bird park, a detergent factory, a fledgling steel mill, put all this stuff together to reinvest in the country of Singapore. Well, today that's now $400 billion. They invest $30 to $60 billion a year. And in fact, Singapore's too small for them now. They invest all the way around the world. And so when I did Jobs Ohio, I thought that would be a really good model. Unfortunately, we had some laws on the book about Ohio investing in private companies. We invested in canals. It didn't work very well in 1815. And so we didn't do that. But I said, I think it's time to do this in Ohio. So created the Ohio Fund with 3 other partners. And we launched in June of 2024. We've now made about 25 investments. We've invested about a little over $200 million. Wow. We've raised close to $400 million. Our goal is to do exactly what Temasek did. I want to be on my porch at 85 years old, and Temasek is, the Ohio Fund is, $50, $60 billion.
How do you get people to bring that much money and support into this idea and vision you have of what Ohio can be?
Well, I think you start on a couple areas. One is people don't realize Ohio is a $1 trillion economy. $925 billion. It's the 7th largest state in the union. It's the 25th largest economy in the world. Okay? People don't realize that.
No, because
okay?
we're just little Ohio.
Oh, exactly. People fly over us. 2 is we're a very diverse economy, from aeronautics to financial services to biotechnology to everything, automotive, advanced manufacturing. And so we're this very large, very diverse economy, but we have no money here. I mean, it's very hard to get capital. Most capital comes in from the coast and then exits to the coast. Right. So I'm very proud to say that 96% of our investors are Ohioans. We want the profit to go back to Ohioans. And we only have really only have one criteria. Either you have to be headquartered in Ohio or you have to have a significant presence in Ohio. And so we invest in real estate. We're investors in Sundays for Dogs up in Cleveland, to Eagle Electronics, a semiconductor module company.
So big and small.
Everything. We have Brad DeHaze here from Connected Houses.
Yes.
Connected Housing, we're investors in that. We're investors in Ease Logistics and InnoSource, who's going to come on the AI panel with me. So we want to be that capital source for that Ohio entrepreneur that allows them to go from A to B.
How is AI changing all of what you do and this landscape that you find so exciting?
As we were chatting about, I grew up in Silicon Valley. My father's one of the founders of National Semiconductor, kind of one of the 20 founders of Silicon Valley. And so I remember the first, one-chip calculator, the first calculator watch, the first digital alarm clock. So I've seen everything from that to the personal computer, to networking, to the internet, to mobile, and now AI. AI is going to change everything, because what we're doing is we're taking the cumulative knowledge of all humans and putting it in one place and source. I'm sure you use ChatGPT or Gemini. You can ask any question and it comes back, not always perfect, but it comes back with that knowledge. And so the message we're going to talk about on panel today is InnoSource is a contract staffing company. Ease is a logistics company. Well, both those CEOs realized, holy criminy, if I don't get on and figure out how to use AI to make my businesses more efficient, more cost effective, better customer service, I'm going to lose. And in 6 short months, they have fundamentally changed their businesses. And so my message to Ohioans is, we're not going to be the creators of the tech, of the LLMs, large language models. I like to call AI for Ohio is applied intelligence, because we're the place where we make things. You know, we have one of the drive investments down the street is Path Robotics. They're doing a full, AI welding company. We're doing an AI cellular module company. I mean, AI is going to be impacting everything, and it's an easy thing to say, AI, it's 2 letters, but it's actually very hard to figure out and very hard to actually integrate.
Because the concept of it is still evolving,
yes,
to be honest. And so people are trying to figure out, how do I use AI? Is it going to take my job? And that's the big thing that we hear when we come talk about Boomtown, right? Is what's AI doing to these growing cities?
Well, I think what's going to happen is it's going to make, so I'll give you an example. One thing people say a lot is AI is going to take lawyer jobs away because you can do all the research, Well, the purpose of a lawyer is not to do research. The purpose of the lawyer is to provide legal advice. So now you have AI, that can do the tasks of the research, but your purpose is to provide a service, to provide legal advice. If your purpose is that, or your purpose is to provide financial advice, you can use AI to do all the calculations. Those jobs aren't going anywhere. In fact, they're going to be enhanced. What's going to be interesting though is if your job is a task, i.e., I uploaded some data from a database, I throw it into a spreadsheet, and I present it to the bosses at B. That's going to be difficult.
That'll change.
But but I think human beings are creative problem solvers. And I think as you understand yourself as a creative problem solver, and then utilize this technology as your, call it, thousands of research assistants, that's what it's about.
So would you say for companies as we move into 2026, to stay ahead of the game as we grow as a region, you have to get on board with AI, otherwise you'll be like the BlackBerry of days gone by?
100%. I mean, you will be a BlackBerry, you will be a buggy, whatever it happens to be. And so what I tell people, MIT came out with a study that people like to throw around, 94% of AI projects fail. Well, the reason why they fail is they're trying to boil the ocean. And we'll talk about this a little bit today. What I believe is you got to start with projects that you can complete in 2 to 4 weeks. And I like to say the best place to start is if a problem can be solved with a 3 to 5 minute phone call, customer service or whatever, it can be solved with AI much better, much faster. So start small and then grow and grow and grow from there. You're going to hear from the stage from Innosource and Ease how in a very short period of time they increased their gross margin, they increased their net profitability, and they actually hired more people because their businesses grew because they were more efficient.
Fantastic. Mark Kwame, thank you so much. I now know who to call if I ever come up with a business.
Yeah, thank you very much. All the best.
The Ohio Fund, appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we finished This Week in Boomtown now with Jason Hall, the CEO of the Columbus Partnership. Thank you so much. What a great event here at ED411.
It's been terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, the energy level is high, record turnout from throughout the region, people focused on the future, properly celebrating what has been a great year for the region, but this is where we fill our buckets and look to the future.
Someone said, it's so exciting, the work of development today. What do you think makes it so exciting?
I think, for so long people thought of economic development as transactions and real estate deals and all this. And I think in the world we live in today, as I mentioned this morning, there's so much uncertainty, and affordability is such a big issue for families. I think getting back to what economic developers really are about are bringing more job opportunities, better career opportunities, helping shape communities in very positive ways. That's what this profession and tradecraft is really about. And I think people feel that more than ever today because of so much uncertainty, and that we can help make people's lives a little bit better if we do our jobs well.
Building families.
Building families, there's no question about it. We talk about these projects and hundreds of jobs, thousands of jobs, but there are people behind that. As I mentioned this morning, the Whirlpool deal, which required us to work in very different ways with 2 major regions of the state actually working together, a lot of uncertainty. And as someone who came from a family who 3 generations worked in the same factory, I remember what it was like when you had uncertainty about, is my job going to be here next year? And generations of pride of families that have worked in some of these employers. Those moments we're winning, and we're winning for our residents here.
Speaking of jobs, I saw you were at the announcement of the new engineering school.
Yes.
At Ohio Wesleyan.
Great news.
Right, which, you think, oh wait, we didn't have an engineering school there to begin with, but we should, and we do now.
We do, yeah. And it's interesting, the backstory on that. We have been talking to Ohio Wesleyan and engaging in conversations like this about what the future looks like. And as they saw the kinds of opportunities, Intel, Anduril, and things that were coming here, it sort of lit a spark of imagination at their board of trustees and said, let's do this. And then an extremely successful business executive, the Conradis family, George Conradis, to step up with this transformative gift to add it. And now you're getting the innovation of good technical skills with the good problem-solving skills of a liberal arts education and pairing those together. It is just terrific for Delaware, terrific for the entire region.
You used a key word there, transformative. What do you think has been the key transformative piece of growth in Central Ohio in the last year, in 2025?
I come back to what is it that sustains us? It is the culture. It's so often in the public arena today, we're seeing people go to their corners, picking a side, rather than what made this country the most successful economy in the world, which is coming together, finding common ground, helping our neighbors, and building strong communities. And I don't think there is a better region in this country than the Columbus region, where that culture, that American culture of problem solving together is alive and well. We keep doing that right. People, capital, jobs want to come here. We're making it easier for people to do that. And positivity is contagious. Our quality of life is contagious. And word's getting out and more want to be here.
So I started this show asking people 3 questions in our Boomtown chat.
Yep.
I'm going to have you answer these. What's the biggest game changer?
The biggest game changer as we look to the future?
Sure.
I think stepping back from any one project, when I look in this room and the record turnout of people coming out to build community, I think we got to recognize there are some people when I got here that talked about, I remember Columbus as a cow town. We're now the fastest growing large metro in the Midwest, #1 for so many things. But the game changer is going to say, what are those ideas today that are so crazy that's going to push us to be something even bigger over the next 10, 20 years? We have got an opportunity to shape what it means to be the American dream and renewing that commitment with the culture, the growth, the positive mindset here. That is a game changer to really shape the next generation of what a successful major American metro is.
Thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Being innovative.
Absolutely, and we get to choose.
So second question, is there anything you feel we need to start, maybe stop, or continue?
I'm going to come back to, look, we got to stay hungry. One of the things that has made us so successful over the last 20 years was an appetite, a collective ambition. Not viewing our neighbors as the competition, but saying we're going to stack hands and we're going to go compete around the world and be the very best. We have got to continue to stay hungry, because sometimes when you're winning, you can get a little too comfortable. And then somebody else comes and sort of eats your bacon, if you will. So we got to stay ambitious, stay competitive, and let's Columbus versus the world.
Yeah, it gives you that edge.
It
right?
does.
It does.
Yeah,
I like that.
that
Stay
drive.
hungry.
We've got to have it.
How do you measure success, personally and professionally?
Personally, for me, I love to be on winning teams. I like to be around people that we're lifting each other up, we're trying to do better, be better, and you either feel that or you don't. And that is to me what I love, seeing other people be successful, and that's how I define success. For our community, I think as we've got people in our community, we're taking care of our residents. We're bringing better jobs. We're bringing the tax base that allows us to invest in parks and public safety and libraries and other things that just make our quality of life even better here. I view that as success, and that people can afford it.
Yes. And with the growth ebbing and flowing, companies coming and going, people have said, oh, are we really a boomtown? I do feel like 2026, we will still be that boomtown, that trajectory. How do you think?
It is. I mean, look, and it's not hollowed rhetoric. I mean, you look at the numbers, as I said this morning, right? I mean, we're the fastest growing large metro population in the Midwest. To put that in different terms, we're growing 38% faster than the country as a whole, just on the population side. Right. And people are coming here because of opportunity. And I like to say the census is the voting booth of where people want to live. Right. And then when you look at the projects, the shovels in the ground, I mean, some of those jobs haven't even come online yet. I mean, the opportunities, I mean, we're building them now, but they're coming online. And when I look ahead to the future, our ability to double down on entrepreneurship, double down on the advanced manufacturing jobs and others that we can bring to the region, our pipeline looks very strong. Sure. And I'll tell you, you know, the partnership members, we just had our retreat last month and kind of recommitting to not just be great business leaders, but to be community-minded civic leaders. That energy level was high. We had our highest turnout in the history of the partnership in person at that retreat. People see the opportunity, they're excited to be a part of it, and they want to do their part to be good civic leaders. There's too many cities around the region, around the country, where that's not the norm anymore.
There's no collaboration.
You don't have it, and it's easy to step back because it's hard, and people are busy, and they have a lot of demands on their time. We've got a region that's hungry to win the future, and I think we're filled with purpose because we see what we can create with the momentum that we've already built.
I love it. Jason Hall, thank you so very much.
I appreciate it.
Your time.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see us boom in 2026.
I know.
Let's go. If you have a story of growth that you'd like us to share or want to know about, simply send us a text, 614-460-3345. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit like. You can also put your comments right there in that section as well. That does it for this special edition of This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We'll see you again next week.